You are sitting somewhere quiet right now, maybe reading this on a couch, maybe at a desk. And in the next few minutes there is a good chance you are going to yawn, not because you are bored, not because you are tired, because you read the word yawn 4 times already and your brain just flinched. That flinch is not new, it is not even human. It is 300 million years old. Long before there were mammals, before there were humans, before there was anything you would recognize as a face, there were creatures opening their mouths in a wide, involuntary stretch. Fish do it. Reptiles do it. Birds do it. Your dog does it when you yawn near her and she is not being polite. Something ancient in her brain is answering something ancient in yours. So what is actually happening when your jaw drops open, and your eyes water, and your whole body seems to hijack itself for 4 seconds? Let's start with what a yawn is not. It is not your body asking for oxygen. That idea has been around for a century and it is almost certainly wrong. Researchers have tested it directly. Robert Proven, a psychologist who has spent decades studying yawning, ran experiments where he had people breathe pure oxygen or extra carbon dioxide right before yawning was expected to happen. If yawning were about gas exchange, those conditions should have changed how often people yawned. They didn't. Oxygen levels barely moved the needle. So if it's not about air, what is it about? Here is where it gets strange. Andrew Gallup, a biologist who has built much of his career around this exact question, proposed something different. He suggested yawning is a brain-cooling mechanism, not a metaphor, literally a thermostat. Picture your skull as a small, sealed room. Your brain runs hot, especially when you're tired, when you've been thinking hard, or when the room itself is warm. A yawn does something almost too simple to believe. The wide stretch of your jaw increases blood flow to your face and neck. The deep inhale of cooler air flows past blood vessels close to your sinuses. That air-cooled blood moves up toward your brain, and for a moment your internal thermostat gets nudged back down. Gallup tested this in a way that sounds almost too clever. He had people hold either a warm pack or a cold pack against their forehead while watching videos of other people yawning. Contagious yawning, the kind you're probably resisting right now, dropped dramatically in the group holding the cold pack. Their brains were already cool. They didn't need the reset. You are not yawning because you are bored. You are running a temperature check. Now here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you in the best way. This system predates emotion. It predates memory. It predates almost everything we associate with being a person. A yawn is closer to a reflex than a feeling, which is exactly why you cannot stop it by deciding not to do it. Try right now. Try to suppress the urge. You'll notice it fights back. Let's zoom out, not metaphorically, all the way out. Picture the tree of life the way biologists draw it, branching backward through hundreds of millions of years. Somewhere far down that tree, past the point where mammals split from reptiles, past the point where reptiles split from amphibians, there is a common ancestor. We don't know its name, we don't have its bones, but we know because nearly every branch above it still yawns that this ancestor almost certainly yawned too. That means the exact motion happening in your jaw right now is older than flowers, older than trees, older than bones themselves in some of the earliest versions. It survived the extinction that killed the dinosaurs. It survived every ice age. It rode along inside your ancestors through droughts, migrations, and the slow, unbearable stretch of geological time, all the way to this exact second, in this exact room, doing the exact same job it has always done, cooling a brain that is working too hard. Now zoom back in, back to your chair. Back to your face, doing this right now, for the same reason a lizard basking on a rock 90 million years ago did it too. But there's a second layer to yawning that has nothing to do with temperature, and everything to do with why you are yawning specifically, because you are reading about yawning. This is the contagious part, and it might be the strangest thing about the whole behavior. Ronald Beininger, one of the earlier researchers to study yawning systematically across species, documented something that should sound familiar. Yawning spreads, not just in humans. Chimpanzees yawn when they see other chimpanzees yawn. Even watching a video of a yawning stranger, someone you've never met and will never meet, can trigger the same response in you. Reading the word yawn, as you're discovering right now, can be enough on its own. Why would a brain-cooling reflex become socially contagious? Here's the theory that has gained the most traction. In animals that live in groups, staying in sync matters. If one member of your troop starts to feel drowsy or overheated, and that state spreads to the rest of the group, everyone shifts toward rest or alertness at roughly the same time. A yawn moving through a group of early humans around a fire wasn't just a personal thermostat resetting. It may have been a signal, a quiet synchronization tool, keeping a small band of ancestors calibrated to each other's internal states long before language existed to do that job in words. Some researchers have gone further, linking contagious yawning to empathy circuits in the brain, the same regions involved in recognizing and mirroring other people's emotional states. Studies using brain imaging have found overlapping activity between yawn contagion and empathy tasks, which is why some scientists now treat a yawn less like a lazy reflex and more like a tiny, involuntary act of social mirroring. When you catch someone's yawn, some part of your ancient nervous system is quietly saying, I am tuned to you. That reframes something you've probably experienced without ever noticing it. The yawn that spread across a meeting room this week. The one that jumped from your friend to you in the car. The one you are maybe suppressing right now. Each of those is a 300 million-year-old cooling reflex, wearing a much newer coat, one stitched from social bonding and shared attention. So here is what is actually happening the next time your jaw drops open involuntarily. A structure in your brainstem, older than your species, older than your genus, older than the concept of a mammal, is checking its internal temperature. You didn't choose either of those systems. You inherited them, fully assembled, from an unbroken chain of ancestors stretching back further than you can really picture. Which brings us back to where we started. You read the word yawn and somewhere behind your eyes a message went out. Cool this down, sync with whoever wrote this. And your body, running code far older than curiosity itself, obeyed. That twitch in your jaw a few minutes ago was not a small, meaningless glitch. It was a message forwarded across 300 million years, through fish and reptiles and every mammal that came after them, arriving intact in you today. You didn't just read about a yawn. You just proved in real time that you are still running one of the oldest programs life has ever written.